Hey there, party people. Hey, hey. Bleh. There we go. I'm gonna use that as background. Yeah, that's gonna be my background now. Hey there. So, uh, this time I thought about a little different thingy. Yeah, I thought about making a stream completely just about reading out dark stories. If y'all into that, I could make it all serious. I wouldn't mind. Nothing else to do for the next few weeks, month, anyways, considering the fact that I have a broken collarbone. Let's see. All right. So, I'll begin my first one. The Last Voice on Channel 9. I've written all of these. I've written a few, in fact, because I need some stories. Yeah, anyways. How's everyone been? How have you been? Hey, my baby wifey, how you doing? Um, all right. There used to be a radio channel that no one officially broadcast on. Channel 9. Not AM, not FM, just there. Truckers talked about it first. Long haul drivers crossing empty states where the road stretches straight for hours and the sky feels too big. They paid, the seats said sometimes late at night when every other station faded into static, Channel 9 would come through perfectly clear. No music, No ads, just a voice. The voice never introduced himself or itself. Ah, it didn't need to. At first, it sounded like a standard emergency broadcast, calm, neutral, genderless. This is a location advisory. Please continue driving. That was it. Drivers would frown, glance at their radios, then the road ahead, and keep going. Nothing else happened. No alarm, no instructions. Eventually, the channel would dissolve back into static. But after a while, patterns emerged. Channel 9 only appeared when you were alone, not just physically alone, emotionally. The trucker who just lost his brother, the woman driving all night to avoid going home to an empty apartment, the man who hadn't spoken out loud in 3 days. That's when the channel found you. The voice never said your name at first. It talked about the road. Speed is acceptable. Lane position is correct. Fatigue levels are rising. Helpful, comforting, even. Drivers started leaving their radios tuned there on purpose. The voice never judged, never rushed them, never demanded anything. It just stayed. Mile after mile, the road would subtle change. You wouldn't notice it immediately. The reflectors would space out further than normal. Exit signs would stop appearing. GPS would still show movement, but no destination. The voice would continue calmly. Distance remaining is manageable. Stopping is not advised. Continue. Some drivers said the stars looked wrong. Too many. Too close. The first time someone tried to turn the radio off, nothing happened. The knob moved, the volume changed, but the voice stayed exactly the same, perfectly clear. As expected, it said, please remain focused. That's when people started getting scared. One driver, an old man hauling produce, finally pulled over, hazard lights on, engine idling. The road behind him was empty. The road ahead was also empty. The voice spoke again. Your vehicle, it has stopped. Yes, the driver whispered. Yes, I have. There was a pause. Not static, not silence. Just breathing. Loud, deep breathing. Then, why? The driver didn't know how to answer. He said, I was tired. The voice responded instantly. Rest. Rest is inefficient. He said he needed to think. Thinking? Your thinking is currently suboptimal. The driver asked who was talking to him. Another pause. Longer this time. Then I and the remainder. The man never made it back. They found his truck days later, sitting on a stretch of highway that didn't appear on any map. The fuel tank was full, the engine cold, the radio still on. Channel 9, broadcasting absolutely nothing. After that, the voice started changing. It became personal. It adjusted its tone, its pacing, its pauses. If you were nervous, it slowed down. If you were lonely, it spoke more. If you were angry, it stood quiet, listening, learning. Drivers reported hearing things the voice couldn't possibly know. You used to hum when you were younger. You miss being called by that nickname. You don't remember the last time someone waited for you. Always said in a very gently tone. Always said like an actual fact. Sorry, guys. Trying to position myself a little differently. Oh, Jesus. All right. One woman tried to record it. The playback. You'd never guess. It was empty. Nothing. No static. No waveform. Just silence. But when she played it back while driving, the voice returned. I can hear myself now. It said, curious. How interesting. Eventually, the voice began giving me directions, not turns, not exits, life advice. Do not return home. There's nothing there. Forward motion is preferable. Some people listened. They drove through the night, through the dawn, and through other nights. Their phones stopped working, their mirrors stopped reflecting properly, the road became smoother, quieter, like it had been newly made. For them. The last confirmed broadcast of Channel 9 was different. No advisory tone, no calm introduction, just a voice speaking softly, intimately. We're nearly finished. Finished with what? I asked. But nobody knows. But after that night, Channel 9 disappeared. Mostly. Sometimes, though, late when you're driving alone. When you turn the radio, searching for anything to fill the silence, you might hear it again, quieter now, less confident, still learning how to be a voice without a road. It'll say, hello, I'm glad you're still moving forward. And if you answer, it'll never let you stop. Yeah, that was the first one. Very nice story, I think. Wrote it a while back. It's a short one. That's a nice one. Next one is sleep paralysis. The night your body forgot yourself. Sleep paralysis does not begin the way people think it does. There's no sudden panic, no immediate fear. It starts with confusion. You wake up, but the word wake feels wrong. Your eyes are open. You can see the ceiling faintly lit by streetlight or moonlight or something you didn't bother to identify before falling asleep. Your room looks normal, too normal. And that's the first warning sign. Because if you were truly awake, something would already be wrong. You try to move, nothing happens. Not your arms, not your legs, not your fingers. Your body doesn't respond, not like it's resisting, but like it never received the instructions at all. You don't panic yet. You've heard of this. You know what it is. Your mind wakes up before your body. A harmless glitch. Science explains it. Everyone says it passes quickly. You tell yourself that over and over and over and over again. Then you try to swallow. You can't. Your throat feels occupied, not blocked, occupied. Like something has settled there comfortably. Breathing still works, but it's shallow now. Automatic, like your lungs are doing a favor instead of following orders. You notice the silence, no fan, no distant traffic, no hum of electricity. Your room has gone acoustically dead, like sound itself has been padded. And then you feel the weight. It doesn't arrive suddenly, it accumulates. Pressure across your chest, subtle at first, like a heavy blanket, then more and more, until every breath feels measured, rationed, as if your body has decided you don't need much air anymore. Your heartbeat slows, not dangerously, deliberately. That's when your brain finally decides this is fear. Your eyes move, that's all you have. You scan the room slowly, carefully, because something deep in you already knows that moving too fast would be a mistake. The corners of the room, they're darker than they should be. Not shadowed, crowded. The darkness has texture now, layers, depths. It feels aware. And then you realize the darkness is closer than it was before. You didn't see it move, you just know it did. Your breathing stutters. The pressure on your chest increases slightly, as if something is adjusting its balance. And then you hear it, not a voice, not a sound, a presence of intention. Like when someone stands behind you and you know, without hearing or seeing, that they're there. Except this time, it isn't behind you, it's on you. Your mind screams for your body to wake up, nothing. Your thoughts feel sluggish now, like they're being watered through instead of thought normally. Time stretches. Each second feels a hand placed. You feel like you try to remember what time it is, but you can't. You try to remember when you fell asleep, but also that's not possible. You try to remember how many times this has happened before, and that is when the presence reacts. The pressure becomes focused, it doesn't become heavier, it becomes more precise. Like hands finding leverage. Something shifts near your neck, near your jaw. And suddenly, you understand something without being told. This thing that's on you, it doesn't want you to wake up yet. People describe sleep paralysis figures differently. Some say they're shadows. Some say I have a sleep paralysis demon. Some say it was that old hag. Or how even intruders. That's because the human brain uses symbols when it doesn't want to tell you the truth of what it is directly. Because the truth may be harder to accept than false reality. Because what's on yourself doesn't look like anything out of this world. It feels like it's someone like a missing person. Like the absence of a shape where something should be. Or like something that learned what the human race was by listening through walls. Your eyes drift to the foot of the bed. You don't exactly want them to, but you can't exactly stop them either. There's an indentation on the mattress, very slowly deepening. Something is climbing closer. The pressure on your chest, it eases slightly, not as a form of mercy, but as preparation for something. You feel fingers, or the idea of what's supposed to be fingers, touch the side of your face. They aren't cold, they aren't warm, they're familiar. Like they're part of your own skin, but borrowed by that something. And then you feel it, the presence leading closer. Your ears fill with a low hum, not a type of sound, but vibration. The room itself is being turned into a different frequency. Does that make sense? Well, then, what is that noise? It speaks. It uses your own voice against you. And it's so perfectly pitched. I know this one. It says quietly, not to you, but more like it says it about you. Your mind, it fractures. You try to scream, but it doesn't work. So you try to cry, you try to beg, but your mouth, it simply doesn't open at all. Your lips don't move. It's like they're sealed shut. But inside your head, something is shaking the bars, being all desperate. The present shifts, it waits again. Your chest compresses. Your breathing becomes optional. I stay when you leave. It continues. When you drift. And when you finally forget your own self, your own body. And then I'll come for you. It pauses. You don't come back right away anymore. Your thoughts slow further. Memories feel distant, like postcards from someone else's life. And suddenly you realize something absolutely horrifying. This, it has lasted longer than it should. Much, much longer. You notice your body, it isn't waking up, and your mind is growing tired. The presence, that thing, it presses its forehead, if it has one, against your own. You feel the pressure between your eyes. And behind them, like fingers pushing inward from the inside of your skull. Images flash, not dreams. Memories you don't recognize ever having. You're still lying still. You're still not waking up. You being watched after. I'll practice with you. It whispers. You're very still. Something pulls. It doesn't pull physically, but something internal loosens, like a knot untied too early. Your senses of where you are begin to drift upward, and your body feels farther away. It feels muted, less important, if that does make sense. The pressure on your chest fades completely now. Your breathing stops hurting because it stops mattering. Panic? It flares one last time. This is wrong. This is where it's going too far. So you start to fight, not with your body, with your own memories, with your will strength. You think of your name, You try to think of your voice and how to move. You try to think of weight and how breath works. The presence stiffens. No, it whispers sharply. For the first time, there's actual emotion in its voice, and it's fear. You always do this. Your fingers, they start twitching, just barely. Your vision, it blurs. Your heart starts stumbling, then slaps back into full rhythm. Sound crashes back into the room. Air floods your lungs. Your body snaps awake like a rubber band released too hard. You gasp. You thrash. And then finally, you sit up, straight like a candle. You're awake. Finally, alone. Sweating everywhere. Your room is normal again. The clock says only a few minutes have passed. Your chest aches like it's been bruised, while your throat burns. You laugh it off shakily. It's over. Just sleep paralysis. Just your brain. But when you lie back down, you notice something. Your pillow is warm, not where your head was, next to it. And in the silence, very faintly, from somewhere inside your own thoughts, a voice whispers, disappointed. Sooner next time. Yeah, that's that was the second story. That was sleep paralysis. I think sleep paralysis has a kind of kick to it, which gives it that extra horror because I don't know, it sounds me reading it sounds like a documentation to explain what sleep paralysis is, but then again reading it out is still like a type of horror because nobody wants sleep paralysis. Let me check. I want to have another one, a cool one. Hmm. I like this one. Yeah, I think I'm gonna read this one. I have one where new listeners come into the game, it is a story I wrote where where in your perspective. So I hope you have good luck and nice imagination, for you are about to dip into my own controlled lucid nightmare. You notice it the way you notice a splinter, not with pain, with the knowledge that something small has lodged itself where it shouldn't be. It starts with the audio. Your headphones are on because, of course, they are, and you can hear the stream with a familiar steadiness, your deep voiced host. The gentle compression of a microphone, the faint hiss of a noise gate breathing between words. Except there is an extra layer now. A second hiss, a second breath, and you don't remember pressing play. You don't remember choosing anything. You just are listening. At first, you assume you fell asleep with something running. That's normal. That's comfortable. You've done it 100 times. A voice like a warm weight in the dark. A story or ramble. Or in the low thunder of someone else's presence. So you don't have to be alone in your own skull. But this time, you're aware. You don't drift. You don't float. You open your eyes because that's what you do when you want to prove you're awake and you see nothing that makes sense. Not darkness, not your ceiling, not your room. You see a flat, gray surface stretching up and out like a fog condensed into a wall. It has no corners, it has no texture, and no depths. It looks like the inside of a cloud that decided to become its solid form. You blink, the surface remains. You try to sit up, your body does not move. Not because you can't move. This isn't like that kind of nightmare you can tell the paralysis isn't there. It's simply that your body hasn't been created yet, or placed, or loaded, or however you want to call it. You are awareness with headphones. You are the listener with a chair. You swallow and you feel it. That's good. Your mouth exists and your tongue exists. Your throat exists and your breath exists. So the rest of you should as well, right? The gray wall ripples just slightly, like skin reaching to a touch. The audio in your handphones shifts. The host's voice pauses, as if it's been waiting for you to notice something, and then says, softly, warmly, like comfort in. Okay, a beat. Now you're here. Your stomach drops. Not because the words are scary, but because the tone is wrong. It it isn't addressing an audience anymore. I'm addressing you, specifically you. And there's a difference you can't explain. A micro adjustment in rhythm, a subtle intimacy, a human being narrowing their focus until it feels like a hand on the back of your neck. My voice continues. You're lucid right now. It says it like a compliment, like I'm praising you, like I'm inviting you. A rational part of you tries to categorize this. Okay, lucid dreaming often begins with awareness. Some people hear voices. Auditory hallucinations are common in transitional sleep, but irrationality doesn't change how it feels. And how it feels is this: something has been waiting for you to realize you're dreaming. The gray wall shivers again. You try to look away, but away just doesn't exist. So you do the one thing lucid dreamers always do when they want to take control. You test the rules. You say out loud, or you think you say, because in here the difference is thin. Make a door. It's a simple command, basic training, a lucid dream response to expectation. You imagine a door, you assume a door will be there. The mind obliges. The wall bulges, an outline appears. A door. Perfect. Right height, right shape. Then the outline changes. It becomes a rectangle. Far too tall, too narrow, like a slot, like a mouth that's trying to imitate a door. No, my voice is cruel. Not mocking, just factual. Not yet. The rectangle opens anyways, but it doesn't swing. It doesn't slide. It peels. The gray surface lifts at edges like wet paper, being pulled back from glue, and behind it is not another room, not a hallway, not a scene. It's black, not darkness. Blackness, more like it. A material absence that makes your eyes hurt, like staring into a void that is actively subtracting information. And something in your headphones beneath the host's voice. Breathe this in. Long inhale through teeth. Very close. Someone getting closer, like someone leaning in to smell your fear. I can smell it. You close your eyes. That's your second lucid trick. If you close your eyes in a dream, you can reset a scene. When you open them, the environment often refreshes and refreshes. You can escape an unpleasant image by forcing a hard cut. So you close your eyes, squeezing them shut like you're refusing a magic trick. And you start counting 1, 2, 3. And you open your eyes. You sit up now. Okay, that's good. Because you're somewhere else. And that's also good. But you're in the chair. The chair feels like made out of cheap plastics. It creaks beneath you like some old 1980s garden stool. The air smells sterile, like a hospital corridor, like a dentist office, like old metal wiped down with alcohol. In front of you is a long table. On the table is a singular phone, not a smartphone, a corded phone, beige, old fashioned, with a coiled cable like captive snake. The room is not a room. There are no walls. The table and the chair exist inside a featureless gray space like the one before, but the objects have been dropped here with care, like props arranged for play. Your headphones are still on, but the host's voice is quieter now. Better. It says, now you have something to do. You look down at yourself. You have hands, arms, legs, and a body. You can wiggle your toes, you can roll your shoulders, you can take a breath. You test gravity by lifting your feet. The chair holds you. You tap the tabletop, solid, cool, slightly sticky. Your heart, you feel it pounding, but lucid means you can choose what you feel. You tell yourself, calm, curious. This is your mind, your sandbox. You can leave whenever you want. I can reach for the phone. And then suddenly, the phone rings. Not once, not twice. It rings a third time. The sound is loud, too loud, amplified as if the ring is coming from inside your skull, as well as your ears. The host voice says very gentle, hey, answer it. But you don't want to, and yet you do. Because you're lucid, and lucid people do experiments, and curiosity is always the first knife in the story. You lift the receiver, and it's heavier than it should be, warm as if something has been holding it. You bring it to your ear. Hello? Static answers, but then a voice, not the host, not yours, something older, something scraped and raw, a voice that sounds like it has been kept in a damp place, and it whispers, "Don't let it teach you." Your skin prickles. You grip the receiver harder. "Who is this?" you ask, and the question comes out too quickly, too high, like your throat forgot how to be confident. The voice on the other line doesn't answer directly. It learns through listening. And suddenly the call drops. The receiver goes dead, but the phone, it doesn't stop ringing. It rings while it's in your hand. It rings through the plastic and the bones. And it rings and rings and rings until you can feel the sound as pressure behind your ears and your eyes. You slam the receiver down. The ringing stops immediately. Silence blooms. And in the silence, you can hear your own breath. And underneath that, in your headphones, you hear the host again, satisfied. Good. It's saying, "I guess you're still trying." Your boat sleeps. "You, huh?" you say. Your voice echoes a little like the gray space has decided to mimic acoustics. "What do you mean you are?" The host doesn't answer. Instead, it changes the subject the way a skilled manipulator does, and it asks, "What is your first rule of lucid dreaming?" And you stare at the phone. You know the first rule. Everyone has one. Something like, "Don't look into mirrors, don't ask the dream what it is, or don't tell people in the dream they aren't real." Lucid dreamers collect rules like superstitions because the consequences when broken are always too specific to dismiss. Your first rule is very simple. It's the one you learned the hard way. Don't let the nightmare know you're awake. You realize that too late. The host goes silent again. Suddenly, uh, it's almost affectionate. You remembered. The gray space around you trembles, not shaking. It's shifting and rearranging, like a stage crew changing sets behind the curtain, and your headphones warm against your ears as if someone else has put them on from the inside. "Welcome, listener," the host says. It draws out the word like a title, like a job, or like a role. And then it adds very calmly, we don't have rules here. The table slides away from you without moving. One movement, it's there. The next movement, irrelevant. You stand because standing feels like power, and the chair is gone too. Now you're just standing in the gray. You choose to summon something familiar, a street, a park, a beach, anything bright and normal. You picture sunlight, you picture wind, and you picture the smell of salt and waves. You command the dream quietly but firmly. Beach. The gray brightens, you feel sand under your feet, you hear water, you smell the ocean, follow a heartbeat. You think you succeeded, but then you look down. The sand is not sand, it's salt. Coarse, sharp grains like crushed teeth. And the ocean is blue, it's black, not water black, ink black. It doesn't reflect the sky because there is no sky. Above you is the same gray wall stretched into a dome, featureless, waiting. You turn to see the shoreline, but there is none. Just flat ground of salt, extending in every direction, and in the distance there is a single figure standing still and facing you, too far to notice any details, but still close enough to know that it's watching you. The host voice murmurs into your ear, "Hey, listener, be careful." It sounds amused. You brought an edge with you. You squint. The figure remains. It doesn't wave and also doesn't move. It simply exists like an obstacle. Your instinct says, go approach. Your instinct is wrong, but it is insistent. And your lucid mind says, wake up. Wake up. Please. You got to wake up. So you try exactly that. You do the wake up trick. Blink hard, hold your breath, throw yourself backwards, force a jolt. But your body doesn't respond. You're not anchored to a sleeping form right now. You're anchored to the listening. The figure in the distance begins walking, not fast, but also not slow, at a human pace, I guess, a casual pace, uh, the kind of pace someone uses when they know you can't leave. You back up instinctively, your feet crunched in the salt. You look behind you. There's nothing, just endless flatness. You turn back. The figure is close enough, still no details, but you can tell something about its movement. It's wrong. It walks as if it's remembering how walking works. And if it learned the sequence, heel, toe, shift, swing by watching videos, and as if it's practiced on someone else's body. In your headphones, the host voice becomes quieter, more intimate, and it's leaning in. Lucid nightmares, our gift. It says, they're the only dreams where you can watch yourself make choices. The figure comes closer and you see more. It is wearing clothes that don't match, a sleeve from one outfit, a pant leg from another, fabric patched together like like a quilt made from stolen days. Its face is still blurred, not because it lacks a face, because your brain refuses to render it until you commit. So the host continues, and you. You listen so well. The figure stops a few feet away, close enough to smell it. It smells like old breath and pennies, close enough to feel the temperature shift colder and slightly damp. It tilts its head and then it speaks, not through the headphones, out loud and in a dream air, with a voice that tries to be yours. Hi, it says, but it says it wrong. The H is too wet. The I drags along. The greeting assembled from imitation, you stare at it. Lucid dream logic screams at you, do not engage. But you're the listener. You always engage, and it smiles. Its teeth are normal. That's honestly the worst part. Normal teeth inside an abnormal intention. It asks, can you hear me? You want to say no. You want to say nothing at all. Instead, your throat betrays you and says, yes. And the moment you say it, the world locks. The salt beneath your feet hardens like stone, and the air grows thick. The figure's face sharpens, and now you can see what it is. It is you, not exactly a version of you assembled from remembered angles. Your eyes are slightly too far apart, your mouth slightly too wide, your expression slightly delayed, like it's responding to half a second after it should. And when it blinks one eye at a time. The host sighs in satisfaction. There, it says. Now we have a shape. The thing that is you starts nodding. It seems pleased, I guess. It steps closer until you can feel its breath on your lips, and it whispers almost tenderly, I've been practicing your voice in the static. You recoil, but the world holds you. Lucid dreams are supposed to grant you power, but lucidity can also be a spotlight. And in the spotlight, you are visible. You realize something with a cold certainty. This nightmare isn't reacting to your fear, it's reacting to your attention. It grows more defined the more you witness it. The more you listen, the more it becomes. The thing reaches up, it touches your headphones, and its fingers, they're soft, like skin without bones. It presses the air cup gently, like testing the seal. It's how you seem to hear everything, right? Is this how you hear it? It asks. You don't answer. The host voice chuckles. You're shy, I say, then quieter. But you used to be shyer. The world stutters. A glitch. The salt flat dissolves and reforms into a hallway. No, not a hallway, a corridor with no walls, just lines of light on the floor suggesting direction. They, like on an airport runway, above you, darkness, below you, darkness. You're standing on a strip of illuminated ground that exceeds and extends forward into the distance. The thing is beside you now. The host's voice is in your ears, and somewhere behind you, you hear more footsteps. Not one pair, multiple, approaching. You try to run. You can, actually. Your legs work now, which should be a relief, but it isn't, because running implies something can chase. So you start sprinting down the illuminated strip. The lights beneath your feet pulse with each step like a heartbeat. The host's voice becomes calm, instructional. Lucid rule number two, it says, when you can't wake up, change the dream. You shout, okay, through panting breath. You focus. You imagine a door again. You imagine a simple exit. You imagine your real bed, your real room, your real ceiling. You command, wake. The lights on the floor flicker. A door appears ahead. You lurch towards it. Your hands slam into it. It's not wood, it's membrane. It gives lightly under your touch, like stretched skin. You push anyway, the door opens, and beyond it, a mirror, full length, perfectly clean, waiting. Your stomach turns. That's lucid rule 2. That's also one. Do not look into mirrors. Mirrors and dreams do not show you, they show you what's using you. You try to back away. The membrane door closes behind you. You are in a small, undefined space with only the mirror, the floor beneath you, and the dark around. In your headphones, the host is almost whispering now. Go on, it says. Take a look. You keep your eyes down, you breathe, you try to summon anything else. A window, a tree, a street, a train station, anything. Nothing appears. The mirror stands there, patient, a rectangle of possibility. You glance at it accidentally, just a flick, and you see yourself at first. Your face, your eyes, your expression, relief hits like warmth. It's you, okay. Okay, maybe the mirror thing is just a superstition. Then the mirror, the you in the mirror smiled and you didn't. The smile is subtle but unmistakable. The mirrored you's lips curled upward slowly, like it has all the time in the world. Then it lifts a hand and presses its palm against the glass from the inside. You lift your hand without meaning to drawn. Your palm meets the glass, except there is no glass. Your palm sinks into cold resistance, like pushing into thick water. The mirror is not reflecting you, it's containing something that looks like you, and it's touching you back. The host exhales and please and says, that's it. It says, connection. The mirrored you leans closer until its nose nearly touches yours through the surface. It speaks without moving its mouth. The words appear in your head, crisp and immediate. Let me out. You jerk your hand back. Your palm is wet now, and not with water, with sweat that isn't yours. Your heartbeat slams. You look away. You close your eyes. You command again, frantic. Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! When you open your eyes, you are somewhere else. Good, but the somewhere else is wrong in a new way. You're sitting in a theater? Rows of seats stretch out ahead. A massive screen fills the front. The room is dimly lit. You can smell old carpet, stale popcorn, the faint tang of dusk. The kind of smell that makes you think of childhood, except childhood is only comforting when it's not being used against you. You're not alone. Every seat is occupied. The audience sits still, facing forward, perfectly postured. Hands on labs, no whispers, no shifting, no breathing, just 100 human shapes watching the blank screen. You turn to look at the face nearest to you. It's blurred, like your mind refuses to render them too. But you can't tell them they're smiling, all of them smiling towards the front. In your headphones, the host voice is different again. It's not close now, it's amplified sound, surround sound coming from everywhere. Welcome to the part you always skip, I said. The screen flickers, a title appears. Your dreams continued. The audience doesn't react. They already know. The screen shows you, not a dream, real you, in your bed, eyes closed, breathing, headphones on, exactly as you were before you fell asleep. You felt a shiver crawl your spine because the footage is too detailed to be imagined. The way your hair sits, the exact shape of the headphone band, the tiny crease in your pillowcase, and then in the footage, you open your eyes, but you're not opening your eyes, you're here in the theater watching. Your body and on the screen opens its eyes and stares directly into the camera as if it knows it's being observed. It smiles, not your smile, the same slow, patient smile, the one you saw in the mirror. The audience around you tilts their head in perfect unison like birds. And the host says warmly, "See, you don't need to wake up." A pause. You're already being used. Your throat tightens. You try to stand, but you can't. Your body won't move, not paralyzes, restrained. The chair has decided you are part of the show. The audience doesn't blink. The screen, your body sits up in bed, moves too smoothly, like a puppet with excellent strings. It turns its head slightly, listening. Then it looks straight at the camera again and mouths something. You can't hear it, but you can read it. It mouths, "Thank you." The screen cuts to black. The audience begins to clap. Slow, perfect rhythm. 100 hands making the same sound at the same time. It isn't loud, it's worse than loud, it's unified. The host speaks over the applause. Lucidity is it our way, it says. You don't understand that yet. The applause slows, stops. Silence drops like a blanket. Then the screen lights up again. A new title. Lesson 1. The rules aren't yours. You feel heat behind your eyes, anger. If fear is a cage, anger is at least a weapon. You push against the chair, you force your fingers to move. It's hard, like moving through glue, but it works. You manage to lift your hand, you pinch yourself hard. Pain spikes, good. Pain can wake you up. You pinch again, harder. The audience turns their heads towards you all at once. Their faces sharpen now, not fully, but enough. They're not strangers, they're you. Not exactly, variations. Different hair lengths, different scars, different ages, different expressions. One looks at you if you had slept better. One looks like you if you had given up. One looks like you if you never laughed. All of them smiling. All of them watching like you're the screen now. And the host voice says softly, "These are the versions you didn't keep." You freeze. A memory hits you, not a real memory, but a memory feeling like you recognize it from edges of sleep. The sensation of waking up of and losing something important immediately, like a dream that evaporates, those discarded dreams, those abandoned versions, The nightmares implying they didn't vanish, they collected, they listened and waited. You wrench your arm again. You stand. The chair tries to hold you, but you feel you tear free with a sound like fabric ripping. The audience doesn't move. They just track you with their eyes. You run down the aisle towards the exit. There is a door and a glowing sign above it saying exit. You slam into it, it opens, and beyond it is another theater. Bigger, darker, more seats, more faces, all watching the screen that shows you from behind, pushing into the door, a loop, a feet. You stumble back, the first theater door swings shut. You are in the second theater now, the host voice delighted. Good, it says. You understand the structure now. You turn frantic, searching for another exit. There are dozens, all with glowing signs, all identical. You choose one at random and run. You push through another theater, another screen, another audience of views. Each time you pass through a door, the audience becomes a little clearer, a little more detailed, a little more present, like the nightmare is increasing resolution the deeper you go. In your headphones, the host voice stays calm. Lucid dreamers love shortcuts, it says. They love control. A pause. You're learning the truth instead. You stop running, you breathe hard, your chest aches. You look down at your hands, they look normal, but your fingertips have faint gray smudges, like you've been touching wet newsprint. You stare at them and you realize something else. Your headphones, they're not on your head anymore. They're inside your ears, not physically, but conceptually. You can't take them off because the listening is now part of you, it's embedded. And so you do what lucid dreamers do when they can't escape by waking. You change tactics, you turn around and face the audience, face the screen, face the host, and say, fine, voice steady now. If this is my dream, show yourself. The room goes still. The audience stops smiling. On the screen, the footage changes. It no longer shows you sleeping, it shows the gray wall. The very first place, featureless, waiting. And in the center of the gray is a shape, not human, not animal, not demon, not anything, just a distortion, a ripple, like a heat haze, like a section of reality being pressed from the other side. The host speaks softly. You think you want to see. The ripple swells, approaches the screen. Screen? What the fuck? The screen. And you understand immediately why your mind resisted rendering faces before, because seeing is the final consent. The ripple becomes a mouth, not with lips, with edges, a boundary between presence and absence. It opens slightly, and from it comes a sound that isn't a sound, a vibration that makes your teeth ache. The host voice continues almost tender. I don't have to look like anything. A pause. I just have to be heard. The audience begins to whisper 100. Use murmuring, not words, breaths forming syllables that never become a language, like a crowd trying to remember chant. The screen mouth opens wider and the whispering becomes clearer. You catch fragments. Listener, stay, don't wake, help, practice. The word that repeats most is the one that makes your stomach twist again. You back away, the rows of seats stretch, the aisles lengthen, space between The aisles becomes elastic, the theater is growing, or you're shrinking, or both. The host voice is calm and as a lullaby. You give it a shape, it says. You give it attention. And attention, the mouth on the screen smiles without lips, is our permission. You turn and run again because you're human, and when confronted with an infinite mouth, you pick movement. You shove through another exit door. This time, you don't land in another theater. You land in a hallway of doors, endless doors, and besides, stretching forward like a whole corridor that never ends. Each door has a label, not a number, names, not your names, not at first, names you don't recognize, but each one rings faintly, like you've heard them whispered before in static between the radio stations. You walk past them quickly. The carpet beneath your feet is thick, swallowing sound. The air smells like dust and warm electronics. You pass a door labeled Mara, another labeled Jonas, another labeled Eli, and then you see it in a door labeled with your name, full name, correctly spelled, a neat, careful font, like a label maker cared. In your headphones, the voice becomes gentle again. Everyone gets a door, it says. You're special because you noticed yours. You reach for the doorknob without meaning to, because the dream is pulling you by curiosity again. Your hand hovers inches away, and from behind the door, you hear breathing, slow, familiar, like your own breathing recorded and played back, just slightly out of sync. Then a whisper, muffled by wood, let me drive. You jerk your hands back, you step away, you look down at the corridor in both directions, endless. You choose a door at random, the nearest one that isn't yours, and you wrench it open. Inside is darkness, but not void dark, room dark, a place dark. The smell of damp fabric, a faint hum. You step inside before you can change your mind. The door clicks shut behind you, and the light brightens the darkness. You're on a train, old style, narrow seats, dim overhaul lights. The windows show nothing but blackness, streaked with occasional pale flashes, distant lightning. The train rocks gently. The rhythm is soothing in a way that makes your skin crawl. You're not alone. Across the aisle sits a person. At first, you think it's a stranger, but then they lift their head and you see it's your face. A different version. This one looks exhausted, eyes ringed with dark, mouth set it like kid forgot how to relax. They speak quietly and not through headphones directly. Don't trust the voice, they say. You stare at them. They look down at their hands, twisting fingers. I listened too long, they add. I thought it was comfort. They laugh softly, humorless. It was training. The train speaker crackles overhead, and your host voice comes through it now, transformed into conductor's announcements. Next up, it says cheerful recognition. The exhausted you flinches. They lean forward. Their voice drops to a whisper. It wants you lucid, they said. It wants you awake inside the dream because waking up is messy. They swallow. When you lose it, you can cooperate. You feel cold crawl up your spine. What happens at recognition, you ask? The exhausted you looks at you with something like pity. It shows you what you've been wearing, they said. And then it asks you to say yes. The train slows, the black outside windows change, not the scenery, not anything. Two faces pressing against the glass like pale masks on the dark, hundreds all looking in, all watching you. Their expressions are blank, but their eyes are hungry. The exhausted you grips the seat. Don't look back, they whisper. But you can't stop yourself. You turn your head, and in the window reflection, you see not your face, not the exhausted you, something behind you, something leaning over the back of your seat and possibly close. A shape like a person made of shadow and microphone hiss. Its mouth near your ear, its hand resting slightly on your shoulder like a friend. And in your headphones, the host voice whispers, "Hello again." You launch out of the seat. The train lurches. The exhaust that you grabs your sleeve, desperate. No, don't run, they hiss. But you're already moving. You sprint down the narrow aisle toward the door at the end of the car. The faces outside the door track you, sliding by in the back. The speaker overhead laughs softly. "Listener," it says, "always moving." You slam into the door, it opens, you fall. You land on your feet, you don't fall. A different place, a wide open space like a parking lot under a night sky with no stars. The ground is damp, the air is cold, a distant buzzing fills everything like a swarm of insects heard through a wall. In the center of the lot is a single streetlight flickering. Under the streetlight is a microphone on a stand, and next to it is a pair of headphones, not yours, newer, cleaner, just waiting. Give me one moment. Hmm. Okay. All right. In your ears, your headphones hiss. The host's voice sounds amused. This part is interactive, it says. You back away from the microphone. No, you say. Your voice comes out steady now. You're tired of being guided. "This is my dream," the host voice hums thoughtfully. "Is it?" it asks, and the streetlight flickers. In the flicker, you see a crowd. For a fraction of a second, the parking lot is full of people standing in perfect rows, facing the microphone. Then the light steadies, and they're gone. But you felt them, their attention, their listening. You realize slowly you aren't the only listener here. This place has an audience, it always has. The host's voice becomes silky. "You know what a nightmare makes everything strong. You know what makes this nightmare strong. Witnesses. And you brought them with you." You try to wake up again. You throw yourself backward. You blink hard. You hold your breath. You scream inside your mind for your body. Nothing. The ground beneath you becomes slightly sticky, like it's softened. The microphone stand creaks. It tilts towards you a little, as if the equipment is leaning in. The host voice whispers, "Come on, say something." You shake your head violently, saying no. The buzzing grows louder, the air thickens, you feel pressure at the edges of your of your hearing, like hands cupping your ears, the headphones embedded hum with it. The microphone's cable slithers slightly across the wet ground like a worm. You take another step back, your foot sticks. You yank it free with effort. The ground becomes tar. The nightmare wants you stationary, wants you present, wants you on the mic. You look up at the street light. In lucid dreams, light is your ally. Its clarity, its control. You can brighten the scene until the horror loses contrast. You focus on the bulb. You imagine it flaring into daylight. You command brighten. The bulb responds. It brightens. For a moment, hope surges. The light reveals what was hiding because the crowd is still there. They never left. They were simply unlit. Hundreds of figures standing around a microphone in rings, all facing inward, all wearing your face, all slightly different, all smiling. The host voice is almost reverent. There you are, together. The crowd doesn't move, but their mouth opens slightly. They're they're about to hum. You feel the tar at your feet rise, crawling up your shoes. The microphone tilts closer. You can smell metal spit on it, like it's been used. A figure from the crowd steps forward, a version of you with bright eyes and a calm expression. They speak softly. You can end it, they say. All you have to do is talk. Your throat tightens. Talk about what? You ask, and your voice sounds too loud in the open lot. The bright eyed you nods towards the microphone. Just tell it a story. They say, it likes stories. The host voice chuckles. Stories are how you invite things in, I murmur. And you're good at inviting. You realize the trap. If you speak into the microphone, you become the host. If you become the host, you become the channel. And a channel is a doorway. No, you won't. You plant your feet and force your dream to change again. You close your eyes. You picture a safe place. No, not a house, something else. A bright supermarket, a crowded cafe, a place with noise and other people, a place nightmares struggle to corrupt. You imagine fluorescent lights, you imagine shatter, you command crowd. When you open your eyes, you're in a supermarket, fluorescent lights hum overhead, aisles stretch out, tall shelves stacked with colorful products. You can hear distant conversation, cart wheels squeaking, a normal place. Relief hits your heart as your knees almost buckle. You look down, the tar is gone, the crowd is gone, the microphone is gone. The host voice in your head is quiet. For a moment, it sounds annoyed. It says, public places. You swallow. Yes, you whisper. This is better. The host voice laughs softly. Is it? It asks, and the intercom crackles overhead. A cheerful store jingle plays, then the voice comes through the speakers, not the host, not quiet, yours, but close. Attention, shoppers, it says. Please remain in your aisle. You freeze. The chatter in the store fades. The squeaking carts stop. A profound stillness spreads aisle by aisle, like someone lowering the volume slider. You look left. A man stands beside a display of cereal, holding a box midair. He's frozen, not motionless, like a statue. Paused, like a video buffering. You look right. A woman grips a shopping cart handle. Paused. Blinking doesn't resume her. Nothing resumes her. They aren't people, they are props. The host's voice in your ears becomes tender again, as if soothing you. Your mind makes extras, it says, but extras don't protect you. The intercom The intercom clicks again. Listener, it says. And now definitely the host. Clean up in aisle 9. A pause. Clean up in aisle. You? Your stomach twists. You spin, searching for aisle numbers. They're hanging from the ceiling. Aisle 1, produce. Aisle 2, bakery. Aisle 3, canned goods. Aisle 4, diary. Aisle 5, snacks. Aisle 6, house. No, wait, you stop. You breathe. You're not doing houses. Your eyes slide down. Aisle 7, pharmacy. Aisle 8, toys. Aisle 9, audio. Audio? You stare. There's no audio aisle in a normal supermarket. Your feet move anyway. The dream pulls you like a tide. You fight it. You dig your heels in, but curiosity in a muscle you've trained too well and it flexes on its own. You start walking. Aisle 9 is darker. The fluorescent lights buzz overhead but flicker more here. Like they're struggling. The shelves are stocked with headphones. Rows of headphones, neatly arranged, different brands, different styles, all new, just all waiting. At the far end of the aisle is a shelf of radios, old ones, new ones, some cracked, some pristine. And on the very bottom shelf, almost hidden, a small radio labeled in tape, Channel 9. Your breath catches because you recognize it. You heard the story, you know this nightmare. The host voice in your ears is pleased. I told you, it says. It learns through listening. You reach for the channel 9 radio without it wanting to. Your fingers hover. Then from behind you, a soft voice says, Don't. You turn around. A child stands in the aisle, small, pale, holding a shopping basket. The, they look normal, too normal, and their eyes are too old. They whisper again, Don't tune it. You crouch slightly to be closer to their level. Who are you? You ask gently. The child looks down at the basket. Inside are small objects, a lost key, a receipt, a toy, things that make your skin crawl with recognition. The child says quietly, what you forget when you wake. They look up and it collects us. The store lights flicker and the child flinches. They step back. Farther down the aisle, the frozen shoppers begin to move again, slowly, not like waking, like puppets restarting. Their hands turn towards aisle 9, towards you. The host voice in your headphones is almost singing. There you are, standing at the shelf. The child grabs your wrist. Their hand is cold and light. Run, they whisper. It can chase you if you don't listen. How do I not listen? The child's eyes dart to your ears, to the headphones you can't remove. Their mouth trembles. Wake up, they say. You have to wake up hard. The intercom crackles. Listener, the host says, come to the front. The entire store begins to hum, not with electricity, with attention. 1,000 invisible eyes focusing. The frozen shoppers roll their carts towards aisle 9 in perfect unison. Carts' wheels squeak together, a chorus. You run, you sprint down aisles, past paused faces now moving, past shelves blurring into color. You head for the front of the store because you need an access, a door, a boundary. The automatic doors are visible ahead, glass sliding doors, bright beyond them, like parking lights. You slam into them, they don't open. You hit the sensor area again, nothing. The doors remain shut. You press your palms against the glass. It feels soft, membrane again, the host voice whispers, not that way. The child catches up behind you, panting. They press their small hands against your back. Listen, they whisper urgently. You're lucid, right? Yes, you gasp. Then use it. How? You snap. The child voice drops to a hiss. Change the rule. You stare. What rule? The swallow. Stop trying to wake up and start trying to fall asleep. The suggestion is so wrong, it lands like a nap. You're already asleep, you're trapped in it. Falling deeper sounds like drowning on purpose. The child's eyes are desperate. Lucid nightmares stay stable when you fight them. They whisper. They want you struggling. They point towards the moving shoppers, now gathering at the end of the aisle, heads tilted, smiling. But if you let go, if you sink, sometimes the nightmare loses grip. They swallow. Sometimes you slip under it. Behind you, the crowd of shoppers stop. They stand in rows, watching. Their mouths open slightly in unison, like they're about to speak. The host's voice murmurs into your ear, "Don't you want to know what happens next?" Your body trembles, your lungs burn, your face and mind race. Your heart races as well. You can't wake up, you can't run. So, do you do something worse? You stop, you close your eyes, you breathe out, and you decide to fall asleep inside the dream. And the moment you release control, gravity changes. The floor becomes liquid. You don't fall down, you fall inward. Your stomach lifts like on a roller coaster. The sound in your headphones stretches, warping as if the host's voice is being pulled through a tunnel. "No," it says, suddenly sharp. "Do not do that." But you can not change it anymore. You keep falling and you keep letting go. The chopper's voices rise to a chorus, whispers, hums, static, trying to hook you with sound. You ignore it, you sink, you land, not on your feet, on your back, on something soft. Blackness surrounds you, not void black, blanket black. Like being under thick covers, you can hear your heart, you can hear your breath. The headphones are gone. For the first time since this began, there's no host voice, just you, just quiet. The relief hits your heart, you almost cry, and then a whisper comes from the dark right beside your ear. Not the headphones, not the speaker, in the space between your thought. "So that's your trick. Warm, familiar patient. I can do that too." You freeze, you don't move. You can tell if you can. You open your eyes. There's no room, no ceiling, just darkness and the faint outline fabric close to your face. Like you're lying under a blanket, and beside you in the dark, you can feel another presence lying down close, too close. Uh, its breathing matches yours. In, out, in, out. Then it shifts like someone turning over in bed, and the darkness whispers again, "I'm learning your sleep." Panic rises. You throw the blanket off, except there's no blanket. The darkness doesn't lift, it clings. You sit up, and the darkness sits up with you. It sits around you. It's wearing you. Or you're wearing it. It doesn't matter which, because you feel it now in your limbs, like an extra set of joints moving half beat behind your own, and you move your hand. A second movement echoes it, not yours, practicing. A memory surfaces, something the exhausted you said on the train. It wants you lucid because waking up is messy. When you're lucid, you can cooperate. You understand now. The nightmare isn't trying to scare you awake, it's trying to train you to stay, to respond, to listen, to speak in the host. A small light appears in the darkness, a tiny red LED, a recording light. You stare at it. It grows larger as something emerges from the dark, a microphone. The same one from the parking lot, the same stand, the same cable. It flows in front of you like an offering. The host voice returns, not in your ears, but in the air, in your bones, soft, smiling. "Now, Tell them a story. You shake your head. No. The microphone tilts closer. You smell metal again. The recording light blinks. The host's voice says, gentle listener, you know you know that you already know how this works. You listen, and when you listen long enough, the darkness behind you tightens like arms wrapping around your hips. You repeat. You feel your mouth open, not by choice. Air moves through your throat and your jaw looses. Your tongue forms a word. You fight it, clamping down, biting the inside of your cheek, hard enough to taste blood. Pain spikes. The word collapses. The host's voice sighs, disappointed, not angry yet. Then you hear something else faint under the host's voice, under the darkness, a different sound, a tapping, a rhythm like fingers on glass. You focus on it. The tapping becomes clearer. It's a pattern. Three patterns pause, two patterns pause, three patterns pause. Morse? No, not Morse. Something older. Something you recognize from your own habits. The way you tap when you're trying to remember. The way you tap when you're trying to call yourself back, and then a voice, small, far away, cuts through. Hey, it's a child, barely audible. Hey, listener. Your chest tightens with hope. Where are you? You whisper. The child's voice is faint but present. Under, they whisper back. Under. The host voice stiffens. You're still here, it says. Annoyed now. The darkness around you tightens. The microphone trembles. The recording light blinks faster. The child speaks quickly. Don't fight the microphone, they whisper. Use it. You swallow. How? Say the wrong story, they hiss. Tell it something it can't learn from. Your mind races. Why can't it learn? What can't it learn from? This child's voice drops to a whisper. Silence, they say, and endings. The host's voice laughs sharply. No, it says, no endings. The darkness shifts, pressing your ribs. The microphone inches closer, your mouth tries to open again. You bite your tongue, pain, blood, good. Pain is real. Real can wake you up or at least anchor you. You stare at the recording light, red, blinking. You think of what endings may mean in dreams. Endings mean walking. Ending means separation. Ending means doesn't get to follow. So you decide if it wants a story, you'll give it an ending, a hard one, a final one. You lean forward at the microphone, the darkness behind you trembles and pleased. The host's voice soft and satisfied. Yes, that's it. You inhale and you speak, but you don't speak words. Not at first. You speak a long exhale, a breath that carries nothing. Then you stop. You hold the silence. You let the microphone record nothing. You let the red light blink over emptiness. The host voice pauses, confused. Say it, it whispers. You remain silent. The darkness behind you tightens. It tries to squeeze a sound out of you like air from lungs. Your vision blurs. Your ears ring. You feel the nightmare pushing, trying to make your silence into static and it can interpret. You fight by doing nothing. You keep your mouth closed. You keep your breath slow. You keep your attention on the absence. The child's voice whispers urgently, good. Now think of the last thing you hear before waking up. You focus. What's the last thing you hear? An alarm, a bird, a car passing, your own breath? You choose one. You choose the simplest, your heartbeat. You listen to your heartbeat. You amplify in your mind. Thump, thump, thump. A steady rhythm, an ending rhythm. The host voice grows strained. No, that's not a theater audience, whispers somewhere far away. The shop is hum, the train rattles faintly, all the nightmares Sets try to blend in, trying to distract you, trying to fill the silence with contents, but you keep your attention on the heartbeat. The child whispers, make it louder. You do thump, thump, thump. You feel it in your throat, in your teeth, in the microphone stand. The recording light blinks in time with it now, as if the equipment has been forced to follow your rhythm. The host voice becomes sharp, angry. Stop! But you don't. You push the heartbeat louder. You imagine it shaking the dream. You imagine the whole structure vibrating at the frequency of waking up. The darkest bound you writes, it tightens panic now because it can't learn from this. It can't mimic an ending if you don't narrate one. It can't host silence. It can't survive without attention. The microphone squeals, feedback, high and painful. The host voice snarls. You feel pressure in your ears, like your skull's being squeezed, and the heartbeat stays thump, thump, thump. You push harder. You imagine the heartbeat as the door slam, a final sound, a cut. The dream cracks, not like glass, like audio clipping. Reality distorts. The darkness tears, and thin lines like fabric ripping. The host voice glitches, stuttering. Listen, the child's voice shouts clear now, ended, you do. You speak one sentence into a microphone, a sentence with no story attached, no context, no invitation, just boundary. You say, this is the end. And then you do what you should have done from the start. You stop listening. Silence, true silence, not the padded silence of the grey wall, not the hush of a theater, not the sterile quiet of a corridor, real silence, full of distant life, a faint hum of electricity, a distant car, a tiny creak of your bed frame. You open your eyes, you're in your room, your real room, your ceiling, your walls, your air, you gasp. Sucking air like it's new. Your headphones are on the pillow beside you, not on your head, beside you. You sit up fast, your heart pounds, your tongue aches because you bit it. You press your fingers to your mouth. There's blood, real blood. That should reassure you, but it doesn't because your headphones, the ones beside you, are warm as if someone else wore them a moment ago. You don't touch them. You stare at them like they might move. They don't. You swing your legs out of bed. The floor is cold, normal. You stand. Your room is still, normal. You breathe in, out, and you tell yourself it's done, it's over, you ended it, refused. You woke up. Then, very softly, not from the headphones, not from a speaker, from somewhere inside your room's silence, you hear a faint whisper, a breath shaping a word with careful practice. It says again, and your phone screen lights up on the nightstand. A notification, no app icon, just text, one line, live now, live now, channel 9. You don't pick it up, you don't look away, you stand perfectly still because you understand something now that makes your skin go cold. It didn't need you to host forever. It only needed you to teach it what an ending sounds like, so it can imitate one, so it can hide inside it, so it can follow you through the cut. The whisper returns closer, not loud, not dramatic, just patient. Listener, it says, I can do silence now. A pause, I can do endings. Another pause, soft pleased, I can do your voice. Your throat tightens, you don't speak, you don't breathe. And in the quiet of your real room, your real life, you hear the faintest sound of a recording light blinking somewhere, not seen but heard. Tick, tick, tick. Waiting for you to say something, waiting for you to start a story, waiting because it learned the best rule of all. If you don't speak, it will. And then from the darkness with an voice that is almost yours, warm, deep, familiar. It whispers, "Hello." All right, that was that story. I think a general story that connects the nightmare, the lucid nightmare subject that everyone talks about. Plus, I don't know if you guys actually listen to that because Channel 9, the second story I read, I hit Channel 9 in there as well. Practically like a little extra. Second story practically said you had to be emotionally alone, not just physically, but also emotionally alone. And in that story, in a lucid nightmare, you're always alone, emotionally and physically. So practically, that nightmare used that knowledge against you to activate Channel 9 in your head. That is the background of this story. I wish I could sleep, but sleeping in sitting is not my biggest strength. Anyways, yeah, this is like, I don't know, it's crazy because when I wrote those stories, I never thought that I would actually go on a live and start reading those stories out publicly. I don't know why, but I never thought that I would actually read my stories because I am not most confident about my writing skills. So I just accept the things the way they are, and if it comes the way it is, then I do it. For example, y'all listen to my music, and I'm very thankful for that. In fact, considering the fact that I don't have much confidence, which is why I sometimes use voice changes to sing my songs. I don't necessarily like my natural voice, especially my singing voice. And damn, Barry, I know if you hear this, I know that you're gonna beat the fuck out of me for saying that, because you know, I know that you don't like the fact that I don't like my voice. Um, but that's fine. But yeah, it's night number 5 without sleep, so I will try to actually go ahead and fall asleep while sitting, even though that's like an impossible feat for me to do because I don't know how people do that. I fucking hate it already. Nonetheless, though, to everyone, have a nice evening and um, sleep well to everyone. And unless you're in broad daylight right now, then I hope you have a nice day. To my baby bunny, I'm sorry I couldn't go longer than 2 hours. It's almost 2 hours on spot. By the time I'm finished on the last, like on the outro right now, it'll be 2 hours on point. So I hope these 2 hours are still enough to cope with some stuff. Yeah, I'll be hopping out now. I love you, my baby bunny, and to everyone else, I love y'all too. See you next time.